I don't know if this is the kind of thing people are expecting to see in a thread like this, but when I saw the question, what's the creepiest thing you've ever discovered in your own home? This was the first thing that came to mind. And honestly, I still don't have an explanation for it. Back in 2021, I found out that someone had been secretly living in our house, not like a random squatter who came in and left. I mean, he was living in the basement while we were upstairs, going about our lives like normal, for at least 6 months. We had no clue. He was eating our food, watching us sleep, writing things down about us. And the only reason we even found out is because of a half-broken webcam I set up on a whim. It's hard to even explain how that felt, realizing we'd been sharing our house with someone we never saw. I was 17 at the time. Me, my mom, and my younger sister had just moved into this older rental house a little outside Chicago. Nothing fancy. It was cheap, which we needed. My parents had just split and money was tight. The house had a weird basement, unfinished, musty, kind of cold all the time. But we figured we'd just use it for storage. None of us really went down there. It just had that uncomfortable feeling like you weren't supposed to be down there for long. The weird stuff started small, missing food, a box of granola bars that went from 6 to 3 overnight, a full pack of cheese sticks gone in a day. At first I thought my sister was sneaking food, or maybe my mom was stress eating and not saying anything. But then it wasn't just food. Little things would move. A flashlight I kept in the drawer upstairs somehow ended up downstairs in the laundry room. I didn't put it there. Nobody claimed they did. I found muddy footprints once, barefoot, which was already weird, near the washing machine. My mom said maybe it was me or the previous tenant's grime showing through, but the prints were fresh, and they weren't mine. I wear a size 11. These were smaller, like a man's size 8 or 9. Still, we brushed it off. Maybe the house was just drafty and weird and messing with our heads. It's funny how easy it is to convince yourself you're just imagining things, even when the evidence is right there. Things started to shift when I began waking up in the middle of the night. Not every night, but enough to notice. Usually around 2 or 3 a.m., I'd hear something beneath me, and our bedrooms were right above the basement. It wasn't just creaks, it sounded like footsteps, slow ones, like someone pacing, pausing, then moving again. I tried bringing it up to my mom, but she laughed it off, said it was an old house. Old houses make noise. One night I could have sworn I heard someone whispering, not words, just a kind of low, mumbling sound. I sat up in bed, turned off my fan, held my breath, and listened. It stopped. I didn't sleep much after that. That's when I decided to set up a camera. It wasn't even anything fancy, just an old webcam I found in a junk drawer. I connected it to my laptop, pointed it at the basement door from the hallway, and hit record before I went to bed. The next morning, I checked the footage expecting nothing, and for a while that's what I got. Nothing. But around 3:12 a.m., the door moved. Just barely, like an inch. Then it paused, and this part still messes with me. A hand, just a hand, slowly reached out and pulled the door shut. I slammed the laptop closed and just sat there. I didn't know what to do. I showed my mom. She went completely silent. No laughing, no brushing it off. She called the police. They came and checked the place out, walked the perimeter, looked for signs of a break-in, went through the basement, found nothing. They told us whoever it was must have gotten spooked and left, but I knew they hadn't. I didn't believe for a second that this person had only just entered that night. A few days later, we had a power outage, just a flicker that took out the lights for a few minutes. My mom asked me to grab a flashlight from the basement, even though she didn't love going down there either. I didn't want to, but I went. The flashlight was in a storage box behind the water heater. As I was reaching back there, I noticed something strange. Behind the heater, there was this panel of wall that looked like it had been moved. I pulled it back, and behind it was a small crawl space. I had to squeeze in on my stomach. Inside was a little makeshift area, a sleeping bag, empty tuna cans, water bottles, an old hoodie. Someone had been living in that space. We called the police again. This time they took it seriously. They brought in a search dog and dusted the crawl space. They found evidence that someone had been there recently, But whoever it was had left, probably during the blackout when everything went dark and we were distracted. There was no sign of forced entry, no fingerprints in the rest of the house. It was like he appeared and disappeared through. Then they found the notebook. It was buried under a pile of cloth in the crawl space. It was just a spiral-bound notebook, but every single page was filled. He'd been keeping track of us. Me, my sister, my mom, what time we woke up, when we showered, what we cooked, when we left, what time we came home. He even drew maps of the house with labels on where we slept. That's when we moved out. Immediately, we didn't even pack everything. Just left. My mom broke the lease, broke the bank, and found us a new place across town. We never went back. The police never found the guy. They said it was possible he'd been hiding in the house before we even moved in. That during the transition from the last tenants, maybe he slipped in and stayed hidden. That makes the most sense. But what scares me is how easy it was for him to just stay, to watch us, to learn us. Sometimes I wonder how long he would have stayed if I hadn't set up that webcam. Sometimes I wonder if he ever really left. For weeks, I couldn't sleep through the night. Every sound, a creak, a car outside, even my sister walking across the hall, it all sent this shot of fear through me like a reflex. I started carrying a flashlight next to my bed. Not because it would help, but because I felt like I needed something in my hand if it happened again. After we moved out, I kept thinking we'd feel safer. But honestly, things didn't get better, at least not right away. For weeks, I couldn't sleep through the night. Every sound, a creak, a car outside, even my sister walking across the hall, it all sent this shot of fear through me like a reflex. I started carrying a flashlight next to my bed, not because it would help, but because I felt like I needed something in my hand if it happened again. My mom tried to move on. She kept telling us we were safe now. New house, new locks, new everything. But she was scared too. I could tell. She double-checked the windows every night, kept the lights on in the hallway, which she never used to do. One night about a week after we moved, I woke up again around 3 a.m. Same time. It was dead quiet. Too quiet. I laid there listening. Nothing. But something about that nothing felt wrong. I can't explain it. It was just that heavy kind of silence that makes your skin crawl. So I got up, I walked out into the hallway, and at the very end, by the front door, I saw the chain lock swinging. Not open, swinging. Back and forth. Just a little. We hadn't used that lock all day. I hadn't even noticed it before. I froze, just stood there staring at it. The front door was closed, bolted, deadbolt locked. But that chain had moved, and we were supposed to be alone. I woke up my mom. We searched the entire house, every closet, every inch of the garage. Nothing. We even called the police again. They showed up, did a walkthrough, said we were probably just spooked from what happened before. And maybe we were, but that swinging chain still sticks with me. It was like whoever had been watching us. Maybe he wasn't done yet, or maybe someone else was just starting. A few days after that, my sister found something in the backyard. She came in crying, holding it out to me. It was the notebook, the same spiral-bound notebook they had taken into evidence. I know what you're thinking. No way. The cops took it. It's not possible. Believe me, I thought the same thing. But it was the same notebook, same cover, same writing, same page about what time I woke up. Except now, there were new entries, in a different pen, different handwriting, and the entries were dated after we moved, at the new address. It had stuff like, Mom goes to bed at 9:42, and boy leaves room at 3:12. He was still watching, or someone else had picked up where he left off. My mom lost it, called the police again. They said it was probably a sick prank. Some twisted neighbor or someone who read the original report and wanted to scare us. They took the notebook again, but this time they didn't say much. Just told us to keep our doors locked and stay alert. So now we were living in a house that didn't feel like ours, sleeping in rooms that didn't feel safe, and trying to pretend this wasn't real. My sister started sleeping in my mom's bed. I started staying up later and later until I passed out from exhaustion. I couldn't deal with the quiet. Eventually, we bought a security system, door sensors, window contacts, motion detectors, cameras on the front and back, the whole setup. It helped for a while. Nothing happened for a few weeks. No missing food, no new entries in any notebooks, just calm, too calm. That's when the camera notification started. Motion detected, back door, 2:14 a.m. Motion detected, side yard, 3:27 a.m. I checked the clips. Every time the camera was glitching, pixelated or frozen, or just completely black, like someone knew exactly how to avoid being seen. One night the camera caught something, just for a second, a person, standing at the edge of the backyard, back turned to the camera, still as a statue, and then gone. No footsteps, no motion, just gone. I saved the clip, sent it to the police. They reviewed it and said it was too blurry to be useful. Probably a trespasser, nothing more. But I knew, same height, same frame, same person, and it only got worse from there. We started getting packages we didn't order, food deliveries with no receipt. Sometimes our names were on them, sometimes they weren't. One time a box came with no return address. Inside was a picture of our house, taken from across the street. The blinds were drawn in the photo, which means someone took that picture while we were home, and they waited until the lights were off. We went to the police again. This time they opened a formal investigation. They set up unmarked cars on the block, had someone watching at night, but nothing ever happened while they were there. After 2 weeks, they pulled the surveillance, said whoever it was had probably moved on or gotten bored. But we didn't believe that, not for a second. One night around 3 a.m., I heard a sound I hadn't heard in months. Knocking, not at the door, not on the walls. From under the floor. 3 slow knocks. From beneath my room. I couldn't breathe. I froze in bed, staring at the floor, just listening. After a few seconds, it happened again. 3 knocks, then silence. I didn't wake anyone up that time. I didn't call the cops. I just stayed in bed, staring at the ceiling until the sun came up. Next morning, I checked the crawl space under the house. There were no signs of anyone there. Nothing moved, nothing touched, no footprints. But that didn't matter, because I knew he'd come back. Or maybe he never left. After the knocking, I didn't sleep for 2 days straight, not even a nap. I stayed up with all the lights on, windows locked, watching every camera feed on my phone. Every little sound made my stomach turn, but nothing happened. No motion, no more packages, no more knocks. And part of me started to think, maybe that was it. Maybe whoever had been watching us had finally gotten bored. That was the most dangerous thought I ever had, because the very next night something changed. Around 1:30 a.m., our power cut out. Entire block went dark. No street lights, no Wi-Fi, just a hum of silence so deep it made my ears ring. And then the door sensor beeped. Front door opened. I was holding my phone in my hand when the alert came through. It lit up the room like a match in a cave. I didn't run. I didn't scream. I just listened. A footstep. Slow. Deliberate. Wood creaking. Then another. And another. Then silence. I wasn't alone. I pulled open my closet door, crawled in behind my old boxes, and tried not to breathe. I still had my phone. I texted my mom and sister at the same time. "Someone's in the house. Closet. Don't move." The second I hit send, the floorboard outside my room groaned. Whoever it was, they were right there. I could hear them breathing. I pressed my back against the wall, phone still in hand, not even daring to blink. It was just the shape of a man, standing in the hallway looking in. But I knew he couldn't see me. The closet door was cracked just enough for me to see through, but not enough to be seen. And then he turned and walked away, back down the hall. No rush, no panic. Like he already knew the layout. Like he'd been there before. I waited in that closet for almost an hour before I heard sirens. My sister had called the police from under her bed. She'd seen a figure pass her door too, but couldn't make out who it was. When they searched the house, they found the back window open. No sign of a forced entry, no fingerprints, no hair, nothing. But in the kitchen, on the counter, they found the notebook. Again, same one, same handwriting. Except this time, it wasn't notes about our schedule. It was messages written directly to us. Things like, "Why did you leave? Who told you to move? You were safe when I was watching." And the last page, "I don't like being ignored." That's when the police stopped calling it a prank. They upgraded it to a case. Full-on home invasion, threat of stalking. They even brought in a behavioral analyst. We gave them everything. The footage, the packages, every weird detail from the old house to the new one. But they still couldn't find him. No name, no identity. Nothing in their system matched any prints from the notebook. They couldn't even prove the guy had ever entered the house because he was always so careful. No footage, no trail, just presence and paranoia. They posted a patrol car near the house for a week. We slept a little better, ate meals again, spoke in full sentences, but I still checked every camera before I closed my eyes. Every night. And then, the final night, the one that changed everything, happened on a Wednesday. It was quiet, nothing unusual. I went to bed around 1 a.m. At 1:37, my phone buzzed once. Motion detected. Hallway. I pulled up the camera, and there he was, standing outside my door, staring at it, not moving, not trying to open it, just standing. His head tilted slightly like he was listening. I didn't even flinch this time. I just grabbed the flashlight and whispered for my mom through the door. She was already awake. So was my sister. We all met in the hallway. And when we opened the door, he was gone, but not empty-handed. Our camera was ripped out of the wall, cords hanging, gone. He hadn't come to hurt us. He'd come to erase himself. We left that night, didn't even pack. We went to a motel near the interstate, stayed with family for a month, then found a place 3 states away. New school, new jobs, new everything. We never got another notebook, never saw another shadow, never heard another knock. It's been 2 years now, and sometimes I think we're finally in the clear. But every so often, when I'm walking home alone or coming in late at night, I get that feeling again. That itch at the back of my neck. That sensation that someone's still there. Still watching. And sometimes I check my phone, open the camera app, and stare at the live feed. Just in case, because I've learned something from all of this. You can lock your doors, set your alarms, move far away. But if someone really wants to be in your life, they'll find a way in. That's the end of it. At least for now. If you're watching this late at night, I'm sorry, but check your windows, check your cameras. And if you ever find a notebook with your name in it, call someone and don't go into the basement. You never know who's already down there.